What is up, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. Today we have our review of the Deluxe exclusive Player 2 Akuma. This is the third exclusive released from Jada Toys at San Diego Comic-Con. We do have reviews for the You Lose head pack, as well as the Battle Damaged Invincible on the channel. If you haven't seen those yet, give it a like and subscribe if you're into this sort of content. But this is a really cool figure. This P1 Akuma released earlier this year. I believe it was late January, early February, depending on where you ordered the figure from. So this, I believe, is the quickest turnaround we've seen for a Player 2 exclusive for a Jada Toys Street Fighter 2 figure. This one is a really awesome figure, as the first figure to release from their Wave 5 of figures. And you know, we're getting close to wrapping this up. We only have one more figure to go, but this is a fun exclusive. I love the collector packaging that they do for these. Just a really premium look and feel. I collect and keep these boxes just because they are so nice in themselves. And if you just slide off that outer sheet there, you get a really big display window showing you everything that this figure has and is coming with. Just extra effect pieces, extra accessories, and of course in his Player 2 colorway. But let's go ahead and break into this package, get him out of this blister, and take a closer look at everything that he comes with. And here is the figure outside of his packaging with his entire accessory loadout. This was a $45 Deluxe exclusive plus $10 shipping, so you're looking at a $55 figure, and he's looking good with a decent amount of accessories here. Would have liked to see an additional head sculpt. A lot of these Deluxe exclusives do come with a brand new head sculpt, so that would have just really took this thing over the edge and made this a fantastic exclusive. But we're getting a lot here, so let's go ahead and jump into the new stuff that we're getting for this figure. The first new piece being this Hadoken effect. You have the one-handed blue effect piece with the sculpted hand inside. I believe this is the first time we're getting this version of this effect piece. We have the earlier Ryu and Ken who have the double hands and the larger effect piece, so this one is a new one. And of course we have the aura arm flame effects. These are looking really interesting. You can see they're not the same sculpt, they're both individual different designs. They should wrap around the arm through these little looping pieces here, and this is something that we saw in the early prototype of the Akuma figure, that a lot of people wanted to be a part of this figure from the Player 1 release. But it's nice to finally be getting these here in this Deluxe exclusive. Of course, we'll try that on the figure here in just a minute. We have the extra gi. Now this is the Player 2 colorway without the kanji on the back, so you now have the option of having him sort of in his normal mode. And then of course you have the Akuma kanji there with the aura paint effect bleeding through the back of the gi, so you can see that there. And then of course it also does come with the blank gi for your Player 1 Akuma. So instead of an additional head sculpt that is compatible with your Player 1, they're giving us the brand new gi option. So it's nice that they are including something in this set that is backwards compatible, since that's sort of what they've been known for these Deluxe exclusives. But even still, I think I would have liked to see an additional head sculpt. And then we do have the large Hadoken effect that came with the Player 1. We have the additional gritting teeth head sculpt. So this is the alternate head sculpt for the Player 1 version, just in the brand new colorway with the white hair that's looking clean. And then we have his second pair of Hadoken hands, as you can see here. And so to get an idea of the colorway of the gi is actually pretty close to the colorway of his gloves if you have the Player 1 version. As you can see here, you know, pretty close to matching the gi color. The belt is actually a 1-to-1 color of those gloves, just slightly more brown, while the gi has a more grayish tone to it. But this thing is looking really cool. I dig this Akuma figure. I really liked the Player 1 version of him. I think it's a really good representation of that Street Fighter 2 Akuma, so I dig this colorway as well. He does still have his beads that came with the Player 1 version. One of those has the little symbol on it, and it does have that same elastic band that is sort of stiff, so it does kind of float there in weird ways. You might have to alter that yourself if you want it to flow a little more naturally. Now, another thing with the Player 1 version that a lot of people had some issue with was the tightness of the joints, especially in the elbows and the knees. So we'll see if there's any updates to this version with the tolerances of these joints or not, but we'll get to that here in just a second as part of the articulation test. But aesthetically, I think this looks good. I like the colorway of the white hair. I like the color of the gi. I think they got that correct. It looks really good. Now, would I have loved to seen extra shading and deeper shading in the musculature, like say like the Evil Ryu or the Violent Ken? Yes. I do wish these deluxe exclusives would get just a little extra treatment to some of the shading and stuff, like the hair. We don't see any additional shading or really any shading at all in the white hair sculpt. Would have been really, really cool to see some additional shaping and shading of the sculpt of this hair. Would have been nice to see some deeper shading in the musculature, you know, just to give it that slightly more premium feel that should come along with a deluxe exclusive like this. But all in all, you know, for a $45 exclusive, deluxe exclusive, I should say, I think it's a solid release. I do like this colorway a lot, so this is going to look good next to the Player 1 Akuma, which I'll go grab right now, and we'll do a side-by-side comparison before we get into our articulation test. Now here is Player 2 standing next to the Player 1 Akuma, and I don't know if it's your eyes or the camera playing tricks on me. The skin tones are very similar in person, maybe just slightly lighter in the Player 2. You can kind of see that there. So I think there is a slight difference in this skin color, with the Player 1 just being a tad more tan. Like, I don't even know if that's intentional or just, you know, production wise, doing a later run of figures that it is slightly lighter. But I don't know if you can tell there. The Player 1 version looks a lot more tan on camera, I must say. In person, it is not as dramatic of a difference, but the Player 1 does appear to be slightly more tan. But as you can see here, the shading is comparable, same style and color of shading throughout the muscles. The hair, you can see there is more of that weird sort of speckled shading in the red hair, while the white hair is more of a stark white color. And then the kanji on the back, you have the red version for Player 1 and the white version for Player 2, and they both look good, but that white version on Player 2 just really pops. I like the way that looks. And then of course we have the gis, just to make sure that those colors matches really well. And then you have the blank gi for the Player 2. Now I do like the one with the kanji, so I'll be using those I'll pretty much predominantly be using the versions with the kanji, but you know, nice to have that as an option, since that is how he is represented in the game. Of course, these are the same height, same size, same body mold, just in a new colorway. Let's see if we can get the head sculpts side by side so you can see that there. Looks good, looks crisp, looks clean. Digging that. So now that we got the side-by-side comparison, let's jump into the articulation test, because that's something that I wanted to know for myself. Is this, you know, updated at all as far as joint tolerances? We're not going to do the full articulation test. You can see that in my Player 1 Akuma video. This guy moves really well, has the new 1.5 articulated shoulders and butterflies, which give him really good range, and that omnidirectional movement in the butterfly. Everything else feels good. Now, this feels to be pretty much comparable with the Player 1 version. These elbows are fairly tight, so I will say there doesn't seem to be an update there in the elbows, and same with the knees. These are very, very tight. You have to kind of push them and force them, fight with them a bit to get them to bend. So now let's put on his aura effect pieces, because this is a really exciting piece of this figure. I'm not sure how, if you can just slide it over. Yeah, you should be able to just slide this over his arms like so. Check that out. So that's a really neat design choice there, just to help this thing, because otherwise it would be kind of floppy. But if you position that right, that'll help hold that thing in place. The second one should be just as easy to get on. This plastic is a nice malleable plastic. Takes no effort to slide that on. And that looks really cool. Check out Akuma Player 2 with his aura effect pieces. How they used to have him back in the day at San Diego Comic-Con. This sort of menacing look from behind like this with the aura effects. And there you go. Akuma looking badass with these new effect pieces. So yeah, welcome addition to the Jada Toys Akuma. I imagine we can also use these in other ways, position these in different ways to get some cool looking effects for the Akuma. And, it's nice that these can also be used for the Player 1 Akuma, because these are going to look cool with him as well. So if you have a front view, you can kind of move them more towards the front there, so he looks badass. Or if you wanted to have the back view, you can do like so. So all these little protruding pieces of the sculpt that help wrap around the arm do a good job of keeping these in place while you're sort of adjusting them and moving them and posing them. So yeah, looks good. I would have maybe liked to seen some paint application, maybe a gradation from like a yellow to a red, just to give it some more dimension. That would have been nice. But these are a nice translucent red, where if you hit that with the light just right, it gives you a really cool effect, as you can see there. So yeah, and that's going to wrap it up for Player 2 Akuma, the San Diego Comic-Con exclusive. Solid release from Jada Toys. I do love their deluxe exclusives with the collector premium packaging, the additional accessories with the brand new Hadoken effect. The additional geese is a really nice touch. Now, I would have actually preferred it to have an additional head sculpt with a new expression. I think that would have been awesome, and just taken this from a solid release to a great release. The thing that I think I like the most from this exclusive is the aura effect pieces. We have been wanting these effect pieces since they showed off the prototype that had these. So this is really what I wanted this exclusive for, and I think they came out really great. If you'd like your P1 Akuma, this might not be a must grab for you, unless, of course, you want the that's going to wrap it up for our Player 2 Akuma San Diego Comic-Con exclusive review. If you enjoyed this video, consider subscribing. If you like this content, drop a like and leave a comment below. Which Player 2 exclusive would you like to see Jada Toys do next? But thanks guys for spending some time with me here today, and I will catch you in the next one.